Oh, hey, Aries, I realized I started your reading. I usually have the cards out and shuffled before I start, but I'll try to see if I can shuffle and read and talk at the same time. Um, so just a reminder, this is your mid-December check-in. On the 14th, we have that new moon in Sag, which is a solar eclipse. I see this for some reason as affecting you guys, Aries, more, maybe the fellow fire sign, but I see. Well, okay, so I don't want to. For some of you, I see you getting something off your chest. You may sort of blow up at someone. Like, that's being a Sag. Like, I don't necessarily blow up at people, but I lack tact sometimes, or I think I'm being funny, or I mean it lighthearted, and not everyone. It doesn't always land that way. Um, so you could have sort of a Sag type experience like that, or, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think this person really does need to probably hear it. You may think, oh, I probably could have handled that a little better, but I think the point needed to be made. And so I think it will be okay in the end. I don't know if this person will get it. There's also another message coming through, and this may be for people with older children, adult children or older children, that it may be time to let go. Maybe in some way you were helping, whether it was financially or, and it doesn't mean you're not there to support or whatever, but it may be time, it may be in some way that you were actually holding them back when you thought you were helping, and you may see that. So in some ways it may be freeing and, I'm sorry, I'm putting a sweatshirt on, positive for both parties actually, and will be the right, in the long run, it'll definitely be the right thing. So maybe, maybe you tell your child, hey, it's time for you to start paying your car insurance or your cell phone or whatever. And it may be a little hard because it feels like that they're really no longer dependent on you, but at the same time, I think it will change the relationship for the better. It'll be better for them. They'll gain confidence. I'm getting a Nine of Pentacles energy. And yeah. I see you also slowing down, taking your time, savoring the moment. This is not a time to push. So this is almost an Empress type energy. Allow things to happen organically. Allow support, but don't dictate or push. And just allow the moment to happen. I can see you taking time to read, maybe writing for yourself. Maybe you have some ideas that you want to put down or put out there in some media in some way. Yeah, so I didn't get a whole lot of messages for you guys, but did I remind you we have that new moon in Sag solar eclipse on the 14th, and the solstice on the 21st we have Jatter. I think that's Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius, and a beautiful full moon in Cancer on the 30th. Let's take a look at your cards. Knight of Swords, a change of thinking. Yeah, a change in how you approach something. And the Hierophant, that's tradition or institutions, government, things like that. I mean, it could be something like a child that reaches 26 and they need to be on their own insurance, something like that. But this is shifting perspectives. You may be really tapping into your spirituality. Maybe you're into tarot cards yourself, or astrology, or more metaphysical things. And maybe looking into alternative, complementary things, less traditional things, getting into spirituality versus religion, things like that, coloring outside the lines, really thinking about things like that. Maybe you never really thought about, if you have, I'm getting a hermit vibe, your own philosophy, what your guiding light is, what you really believe, what's most important to you. And you may be doing some deeper thinking on that level, maybe doing some journaling and things like that, and exploring these types of issues, and really opening your mind. Four of Cups, he looks like a fucking joy. Ugh, I hate him. Yes, I hate someone in a card. Five of Cups. Okay, so if this is saying you might be pining over someone that treated you like shit. So, it's more that you miss the relationship than the person when you really think about it. And I hear people say, well, they're not all bad. And it's like, yeah, well, usually people are getting their way some of the time. If people are getting their way, or they just happen to be in a happy mood, sure, they can be fun to be around. But when things don't go their way, and they either clamp down and get all passive aggressive, or angry, or quiet, or whatever, anytime, here's King Baby Syndrome again. Was I talking about that with you or with Virgo? I think it was Virgo. King Baby Syndrome. It's when people, I guess that's an Al-Anon term. I always say adult toddlers. It's narcissists. It's people who feel entitled and everything's about them, and they want to get their own way. If they don't, they pout or sulk, or can throw even more serious temper tantrums depending on the amount of power and money and whatever that they have. So that kind of went off on a tangent, but really think about the evidence. So if you were in a relationship, and even if it wasn't your choice to end it, it really wasn't productive, or toxic, it was toxic, or it really wasn't a happy, healthy relationship, you have the data that it didn't work out. But some of us still think about that person, long for that person. So you may want to explore that. Like, that person was not super fun to be around. And I had a boyfriend when I was younger, and we did so many fun things. We were always doing fun things. But he had this temper, and literally out of nowhere would just start going off on me. I was, whatever, I was young. And I got back with him a couple times because I was learning. I had to learn the hard way. So finally I said, yeah, we do all these fun things, but then he always ruins it. And that's where you think, oh, but we used to do this when we get back together. And then I'd be like, oh, but he does that. That's why we're not together. So focusing on remembering the bad things, not fantasizing, or trying to separate, well, I liked being in a relationship, but not with them, and to switch that focus to more productive things. Then, because the law of attraction would say, okay, if you're thinking about that person, you're thinking about that vibration, and it wasn't a good vibration, and that's what you're going to then call back to you. Seven of Pentacles, Temperance, so balance. This really, to me, even though Temperance is the card of Sag, it's all about the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, balancing that. I want to be free. I don't want to be tied down to things. I want to just live my life. Life is too short. To Saturn saying, well, someone's got to pay the freaking bills and put food on the table. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But Aquarius says, well, let's see if we can shift our thinking and be creative and figure out how we can have the most cake, our cake and eat it too. How can we find a way to balance those so we're getting more than we have now, instead of swaying to one side or the other. The Seven of Pentacles is a really interesting card, because There are some things in life that are really easy to know when you need to be more patient. Babies take so long to grow in the belly. Crops take a certain amount of time to grow overseas. Like, there are some things that are known. It is known. What's that from? Game of Thrones? It is known. But when you're dealing with situations and people, how do you know when to be patient? And how do you know when this isn't going to work out or this person isn't going to change? We, we really shouldn't spend time on people changing, though, right? Because we don't control that. So that's giving up control of your life to someone else. And if their behavior at the moment is not okay, it's compromising your values, then you have your data, you have your information, because that's how they're acting right now. I mean, that's the reality, no matter what they say or what your hopes are. But there are some times where you need to be more patient with someone, and it's a process. It can be very, very difficult to make those judgment calls. And so sometimes people are out of things before giving them a chance to settle in. And sometimes people stay in something way too long. So how can we get in the middle there without spending all this time pining over someone, versus just, I'm out of here? The Lovers. Wow. And okay, so the Eight of Swords is denial. So we have the Eight of Swords and the Five of Cups. Not the super warm, fuzzy cards of the deck. This could be in denial about someone else's behavior. It could be denial about your behavior. It could be denial about, you could be obsessing over something, still feeling drawn to someone, a cord to something, stalking their Instagram or social media. At some point, you have to cut those ties. You might want to do a cord cutting. You can just do YouTube and cord cutting, and there will be some meditations. I will say, I've done them before. It's so weird. That person, it's like they sense you don't, because they get something out of it. It might not be positive, but they get some sort of drama or energy boost or hit. Otherwise, they keep that drama going. And in some ways, we get a little addicted to that as well. So if you really want to cut this cord, block, delete. Don't look them up. Don't keep tabs, because you're keeping, again, that lower energy going. But sometimes when you do these cord cuttings, they sense it, and all of a sudden they show up, they call. So just be prepared to block their phone. I'm not answering, and block it so you don't even know. Yes, of course, if it's the parent of your child, the other parent of your child, you may be like, well, I can't block them. Well, I have a friend doing that whose child is 24 or 25, and I'm thinking, I don't know. Do you get? I'm being very judgy. I don't know. You have to. Is that an excuse, or do you just want to keep the drama going? I think it's Glennon Doyle. Someone asked her about closure in relationships, and she said, I don't believe in closure. I think closure is just an excuse to keep the drama going. And I do feel a vibe. So either someone wants to keep the drama going with you and you're having trouble. Maybe they could be very skilled at emotional manipulation. So you have a choice here. You have a choice to, should I stay or should I go? Should I deal with it? Should I not? The Lovers remind you that it's about commitment and choice and looking at the practical, the tangible. So if someone says, I'm really into being healthy and exercising, but they go to McDonald's every other day and they work out once a week, that's not quite lining up. You know what I'm saying? And so if someone says they're committed to you, but they're not really available and they seem to only want to do things when it's convenient for them, those types of things. or when they're lonely or they're down and they know you're going to give them comfort. It's a weird, not a weird reading, but it's a different reading than some of the energy is very different than a lot of the other signs. And sometimes the energy, there's some similar themes, that collective themes that are happening. So the Temperance card is really standing out, the balance, and I think this shift in your thinking and making a decision not to focus on negative or past things or lost things, and really stick to your boundaries, stick to your values, whatever they are for you, and break free from some of these negative influences in your life. I want to pull some more cards for you. I haven't done that for anyone else. Let's grab these. Just pull a few more cards. What else is going on for Aries that isn't all about this relationship? I knew this was going to happen. So you got the Four of Cups on the bottom again. The Four of Cups, holy shit. The Hierophant again. This word keeps coming up, which is really weird. I probably because I was just doing science with my son. The doldrums, which I always think of, it's very much a Four of Cups energy. You're in the doldrums, just nothing's happening. There's no wind in your sails, but it is an actual nautical weather pattern type thing, which I didn't know. I didn't even realize. I probably knew it sometime. Burden, Ten of Wands. This is just Two of Swords. You have a decision to make. This is so funny. The cards are like, Jen, just deliver the message. Stop trying to sugarcoat it. Where are you carrying things that are not your burdens to carry? And really having to make a decision. Kind of the Seven Pentacles. Should I stay or should I go? Should I keep dealing with it? But I think it'd be good for you guys, for those of you that have already broken up but are having trouble moving past, to really, maybe some of you are staying together because divorce, if you're married, feels really ingrained in you that it's wrong. But the Four of Cups is blah. It's just, I'm not living. This isn't living. I want to enjoy life. And I'm being prevented from doing that, and really quantifying what you're doing that could be contributing to that, and releasing yourself from some of these ties to the past that are keeping you at a lower vibration. I'll do that sometimes with work. I'll get thinking about shit that happened, and I'm like, why am I giving my energy to that vibe, that situation, those people? Like, what am I doing? Stop it. Move on. Why am I keeping that drama alive? Okay, Aries. So thank you for watching. And I think you'll feel a lot freer. It takes some discipline and a little bit of time to get out of the habit of monitoring or looking or thinking about a situation or a person or whatever. But once you can break free from that, I see things really becoming really balanced and getting energy back, even because it was sucking more energy than you realized, and unburdening yourself from things that just are not healthy or helping you or serving you at this time. So take care. I've already recorded the overview for 2021, so look for those. I'm not sure the timing of this video, but they will be going out in the next little bit. So if you want to check those out, that would be great. And happy holidays, happy new year, and take good care. Bye.